So the cats and the dogs. So a shelter rescues 6 cats for every 4 dogs, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So give us a little picture here. For every 4 dogs. If they rescued 42 cats, how many dogs did they rescue? So they're telling us 6 cats for every 4 dogs, 42 cats total. How many dogs? So how are we going to do this? Well, what I'm going to suggest is you start with the words. What are the words? We're trying to do cats over dogs. You could do it the other way. You could put dogs in the top and cats on the bottom. It doesn't really matter, but just go ahead and write the words. A lot of people want to skip this step of writing the words. It's really not a big deal on this easy one, but in a minute, the problems are going to get much more challenging and the words will be very helpful to you. So I really encourage you not to skip this step. Get in the habit of always writing the words. So 6 cats for every 4 dogs. 6 cats for every 4 dogs. We're going to write 2 equal fractions, and then we're going to cross multiply and solve. So there's 6 cats for every 4 dogs. And then there's 42 cats. Does that go on the top or the bottom of the other fraction? The top. Yeah, because I happen to put cats on the top. And then what's going to go down on the bottom?
X.
Yep, you could do X, and that's fine. I'm going to actually use, I found it's easier for students over the years to put a meaningful there. I'm going to put D for dogs, but X is fine. But D is easier. That way, when you're done, you know what it represents. It's dogs. Okay, there it is. And now how do we solve it? We cross multiply, you know, right? Diagonal, diagonal. So 6 times D is 4 times 42. And so that means 6 times D is 168. Choose your calculator there. How do we finish solving for D?
You divide 6 on the other side.
Exactly. Very good. Divide by 6 on both sides. And so D equals, I think it's 28, right? And that's D for dogs. So we're done. 28 dogs.
Mr. Heron, I have a question.
Yes, Lang.
So would it always work? So what I did was 6 cats to 42 cats. I would just do 6 times 7, and then for every 6 cats, there's 4 dogs. So I figured I would just do 4 times 7, and that would equal 28. And then I did that for my lecture homework too, and it worked. Would that always work, or should I like stick to the equation and format?
Yeah, great question. Probably a lot of people have the same question and did it the same way. That's a great observation, Lang. So everybody see what Lang did. Probably a bunch of you did that as well. Just looked and said, well, how does 6 become 42? Well, times 7, and then I'll just do the same thing to the bottom. 4 times 7, 28, done. That's excellent. But let me caution, your question was, will that always work? My answer is actually no. And the reason is this very next question with the Tylenol, what you'll see is the numbers won't be clean. What I mean is they won't be whole numbers. For example, with cats and dogs, that's going to work because you can't have part of a cat or part of a dog. But on the next problem with Tylenol and acetaminophen, where you can have, 2.3 and numbers like that. So what if they gave you 6 over 4 is 40 over D? See, then there's nothing times 6 to make 40. So that method's not going to work. Now, that's not going to happen with cats and dogs because you got to have whole numbers. But that will happen with other real life things where you can have decimals. So yeah, great question. I wouldn't do it that way always because it won't always work. I encourage you to do the cross multiply. But it's a good option.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.